Give it a big wave. Let them know you're here.
Are you picking up a voice?
Are you here now?
Ooh,
That fix it.
Well, if it didn't
That
work
was the-
before.
Are we on
that was
now?
the rim shot.
I think so.
All right.
Yeah.
It's time to call the agenda review meeting to order. We'll have item number 2 is a recommendation that town file a gaming economic development fund grant application for proposed improvements to reconfigure several of the ball fields at the Vincentian Recreational Complex by lengthening fields number 1 and 5 to provide for safer and age-appropriate levels of play for girls softball and older boys baseball, to fund $250,000 of the $286,795 estimated cost, with the balance to be funded by a $19,000 commitment of town funds already budgeted toward work at the Vincentian Complex and $17,795 from the McCandless Athletic Association. Are you going to speak to that?
Just a brief comment. We were encouraged. I stopped at the Allegheny County Economic Development booth at the Allegheny League of Municipalities Conference a couple weeks ago, and we were encouraged to file for this, to have a parallel grant to the CITF grant that we've already filed, just to kind of cover our bases. And so we took that advice and spoke to several council members, and I'll have it on the agenda for you tonight. So with your blessing, we would put this on the agenda for a resolution vote to allow this to be submitted prior to the April 28th deadline.
Okay.
What if we get both grants?
Not likely,
Are you in a dream world?
because I think some of the same people are in the room reviewing, but one room's in Harrisburg. This GEDF, the review takes place in Harrisburg with reps from Allegheny County there. The CITF takes place in Allegheny County with some of the same Allegheny County people, plus some others. They'll know.
If I may comment on that, if you notice, the contribution is $5,000 less between the MCAA and the town. The reason for that is this does not require an origination fee or an audit fee, which was required for the CITF grant. So there is a difference if you're comparing the two in contributions.
The CITF application was $291,795.
The total amount of the grant is the same. They're both $250.
Both two.
And we hope we get one of them.
Yes,
And if we don't,
we'll try again.
okay, any questions on that? Item number 3, a recommendation to approve the American Disabilities Act ADA HERB ramp contribution agreement between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Department of Transportation, by PennDOT, which includes roadway alterations for resurfacing, signal replacement, and pedestrian facilities at its intersection with Arcadia Drive, Laser Drive, and Pine Creek Road for the purpose, and which authorizes the town to reimburse PennDOT for the town's estimated share of $7,592 construct or update pedestrian facilities to current ADA accessibility standards at these intersections. Self-explanatory.
May I make a comment there, please? I just thought that we should take note of the manager's report, that this would cost easily in the 7 figures for PennDOT. And this amount, the $7,592 that we have to pay, is already in our budget. So I just thought that we should take note of that.
Okay.
We had budgeted $10,000 for the Cumberland McKnight work. So by us holding off doing that, why would we, with PennDOT wanting to do this summer?
Construct a ADA at Blazer, or at Arcadia too.
There will be. It's required at all three intersections, federal regulations. PennDOT's accepting federal money, and they expanded this project to all three of these intersections now, which is, last month it was the Blazer intersection. And,
Some of them are not used.
some of them, at this time, they're not used, but in order to accept the federal funds, PennDOT has to put them in, and our share is very small.
We know about that because we looked at them when they put them in at certain intersections.
The courts ruled that PennDOT had to make these improvements anyway. Why do we have to put any money into it?
It's the federal government requires a share from the local municipality toward the ADA ramps. It's, leveraging $7,592 against over $1 million. I don't have a number estimated from PennDOT, so I'm not about to do it yet, but it's just the intersection work alone. Each of those intersection signal work is gonna be estimated about $200,000.
We've got to go a lot of it there, Steve.
And then plus all the paving work they're doing, way over $1 million, probably over $2 million.
Okay. We'll go over to the business meeting. Councilwoman Fyers, you have the invocation.
Yes.
We have the announcement. Who's making this presentation, Mr. Corey? Anybody know?
Councilman Ladon, I believe.
Well, I'm making the introduction of the young lady that's going to present the award to Officer Ray for his service and his injury overseas when he was deployed to Afghanistan.
Okay.
And I'll introduce her, and then she'll make she'll read the proclamation.
Item number 5 is the minutes.
That's me.
Anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes?
I shouldn't be one to say this, but in a reread, we frankly hurriedly put this together on Thursday. Maria was finishing up the draft minutes. The section where I made comments in response to some of the questions that have been raised during the review of the core documents. And there was a lot of discussion brought up about cost of the Heritage Center. I don't think it's accurately presented that where I said it would cost $200,000. So we don't want to have another series of misunderstandings about how much money was actually budgeted or actually estimated for the project. So I did say, and I checked minutes on this, that the materials and related services would be over $200,000. And I said at the meeting that, and reported from the spreadsheet that Reed Jebner had put together, that our materials and services that we did paid some rentals for crane and so forth, was $298,000. And then I reported about the netted out amount, since we had $49,000, I believe it was, in donations, cash donations. So I talked about a net amount. So I think we could probably present it a little bit better. I tried to summarize it with Marita, so we didn't go on forever about it.
Any other comments on the minutes? Moving along, we go to the zoning committee. Councilman McKim.
We've discussed this issue in the past. Since the motions to approve a lot line revision for the Kiesel? Niesel, okay. The Niesel plan of lots located at 10020 and 10050 Rinneman Road, which is just north of Bloom Avenue along Rinneman Road, as per file number 35654, sheet 1 of 1, prepared by Tate Engineering, dated February 7th, 2017, with the latest revision being April 5th, 2017. that's a pretty straightforward one. Does that require any additional comments by you, Bruce?
No, that's, like I said, it's straightforward.
That's all that I have under zoning, Mr. Hoffman.
Thank you. Finance Committee, Councilwoman Powers.
We will just go through and ratify the checklisting.
Any questions?
This is the executive session under number 9 for personnel matter. For personnel matters,
Ordinarily, you don't discuss it prior to, you just acknowledge that we do have several personnel matters to discuss.
No questions on the bills. If you have any, when you look over the papers, give them the call Reach. New business, public, and we have to enter, number 9 is enter executive session to discuss a personnel matter. So with that, we'll go back to the agenda. Review meeting. Number 5, liaisons with other boards. Councilwoman Zachary.
let me find us. Yeah, thanks. Maybe I found it here. We have several things. First thing I want to update you all on some of the things that the EAC is doing. We did our recycling audits. Audit this last month, and we found that 3 of the 11, we went to Pine Creek Plaza, the Giant Eagle Plaza, and looked there and found that 3 of 11 people were not recycling. Giant Eagle was doing, it looks like, a really very nice job having cans, inside and outside, and had kind of set the best example. We're also John put together a great video that we're going to show on the service committee meeting about recycling, as well as we're wanting to make an A+ recyclers list that we would put into publication of businesses that are doing a really good job with their recycling, kind of positively, instead of listing the people who aren't doing well, list the people who are doing well, kind of encouraging people to get on that list. We have an enforcement letter that we send if people are not doing that, explaining what the responsibility is that we can send out. And several things on the front that we'll talk about, but the 2 things tonight we want to present are, we'll start with the green space, I guess, overlay. Brian, you want to start with that? We can do that first.
What we hear up there doesn't matter.
I want you to stay there. It's crowded up there.
The green space inventory we've completed for the town of McCandless, and you folks have had a copy passed out to you, so I'll give the Cliff Notes version. We've got the map up there, and it displays the town properties are in green with the little labels on them. And one thing we found out is, like, the label takes 5 acres. In other words, Ingomar Elementary School is covered completely almost by the label. So, you just realize that. The other thing to realize whenever you look at it is some of the properties involve 2 lots and blocks. And basically, we assigned a number for each of the lots and blocks. And they wind up with the same. So you'll see the same number on there twice for the 2 properties associated with it. Basically, we've got 5 parks, 20 other properties, which we've got spelled out in the inventory, and that gives us 191.2 acres, 191.9 acres. So basically 192. The school district has green space. We're estimating the orange items up there are the school district, and we're saying they have campuses of about 227 acres. Of that, we're saying 1/3 is probably covered by buildings and parking lots and that, so that won't be considered green space. So that gives us 150 acres there. MTSA has 16 properties, 40 acres, but we decided that that's got a lot of easement restrictions on it and everything else, so we did not count that being conservative. It's not really open for public use. And I don't know if many people want to go down to the sewage treatment plant and have a picnic. Cemeteries also are privately owned. Out of respect to the deceased and the families, we did not consider them to be green space, although a lot of them will allow you to jog or walk through them, look at birds, whatever. Private school campuses, college campuses and technical school, they pretty much restrict theirs properties to the students and the families. So we didn't count those in. And then you got a lot of community organizations, private, semi-private, churches, that sort of thing. We did not count those on a conservative basis. Clean and green lands administered that get tax breaks. In looking at this a little further, only agricultural reserve lands are open to the public. We have 11 properties in the town of McCandless, totaling 144 acres, but all those are either agricultural use or forest reserve. So they are not open to the public. They are not required to be open to the public. Resource protection lands is set up under the de-development regulations. This would include like McCandless Crossing and MTSA. Those remain in the ownership of whoever put them, put forth a development plan, and those do not have to be open to the public, so we don't count those either as green space. Bottom line is, how much green space do we have in McCandless? Well, if you add up all those acreages that I gave you, the town properties, the school, 1/3 of the school properties, and then North Park. North Park is the biggie. North Park, we've got 1,790 acres of green space in there with many facilities. We wind up with a total of 20% of the land in McCandless. 1 out of every 5 acres in McCandless is green space. A contrary fact to that is they also aren't paying taxes on those, but that's the benefit. The tax revenue is the con. So we've gone through, put all this together, have it in tables and text, and then we have a 11 by 17 map that I believe got out to you folks. Here's draft copies that you can split and send around. I've marked them draft because they still have, I hand drew Cumberland Road extended on it, and we did an editorial change on the comments. One of the main comments that we're saying is, it is the user's responsibility to check with the property owners to determine if they authorize the intended use. And do not trespass or block driveways whenever accessing green space lands. That's pretty much it. Any questions
You want one of these, maybe?
or additional comments?
Oh, okay,
I do have a
thanks.
comment
Go
about
ahead.
mine. I thought a little bit about this, and as I said, I thought a little bit about this, and Wall Park happens to be in my area. And my thought was that possibly we should put this in the town budget. Since the town already owns that ground, why couldn't we think about a walking and a bike trail from Wall Park up to Harmony? since we already own the property.
That is
We've
the next
already
thing we're
thought of
talking
that.
about.
Okay,
That's the next thing we're talking about.
okay. All right, it just,
Okay,
Yeah.
since it's in my area, I just kind of thought that that might be something we should put in our budget.
and Walt Park has a bunch of properties that have been bought along
Right.
the outside edges of it, that, you know,
You wouldn't be offended.
you gotta get the
anyone.
connected.
You're not offended.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
bought the alley.
Okay.
That was Brandt's property.
Could they-
Yeah, that's the two
Well,
brands.
they could just give it to me, and I could put it on.
Anything else for Brian?
Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Since council publicly authorized $1,000 for putting this layer on the map, you've gotten it to this point. I was asking Bruce, I was trying to be discreet about it here and respectful, but I think that I'm not so sure, I don't know how much of the 1,000 we're gonna have to spend to put this on our GIS system. Do you have any
I
thoughts
don't
about that?
think you're gonna have to spend anything, because once you folks approve it, I can go back, MTSA, out of the goodness of their heart and me twisting their arm a little.
Well, we help each other out.
Said that they would like to make the map for us. So I went down there with the GIS fellow, and we were able to crank the map out in just a couple hours. So Bruce and I did a lot of the legwork to get to that point. Bottom line is, he's gonna give it all to us in CAD type of stuff, and basically it'll be transferred on the computers. So we're going to have that straightened out.
We could do a little bit of a trade, because his base layer is a little bit off. We could give him our base layer, and he could give us this package, which it took you said about 4 hours to get it done.
Yeah.
So
So I foresee not spending any of that $1,000.
That sounds like a nice thought.
You know,
Sounds good.
and you may wind
Thank
up
you for
spending
that.
some of it to make. The reason I wanted the map in 11 by 17 was so it's readable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still even a little hard for some of us that have eyes. But the 11 by 17, we could easily put table 2.1 and table 3.1 on the back of it, which 2.1 lists all the town properties, and 3.1 lists the parks as well as the information on North Park. So you could put both of those on the back, and that would make a nice 11 by 17 handout sheet.
Sure would.
So,
Thank you, Brian. Nice
Okay.
job.
thank you.
Goes back long ago when we started to acquire property. My theme was, there's only one thing we're running out of, land.
Yeah.
And that's why we started to acquire this by either purchase or donation.
Yeah.
Now it's set for future generations.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Okay.
Very nice job. They did a very professional job, including Bruce and MTSA helping us out.
And then I have the references, if anybody's concerned about them, I can give you a copy. We aren't gonna make those public so that we do not have the people that I used harassed for information and that sort of thing. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next thing that we were gonna bring up is, there's a summary of feasibility study that John Stephen of the Rachel Carson Trail on the potential for creating a walking trail through the town of McCandless. The summary, is as, do you want me to just read these connections, or do you want to just, do you want me to read them while you point them out on the map, or how do you wanna do this?
You know what, we could, I think I could do that. I think I could keep up with it.
I'll read slow. So this would be Harmony Trail to Richard Road.
Okay, yeah, what we have here is Harmony Trail, I have it on 2 different maps. Starts at, now I know how we can do it, I'll supplement.
Okay.
And I'm supposed to keep it, I was told by Toby and Melinda, keep it short.
Okay, good.
So, yeah, what we have on this first map, this is from our 2005 comprehensive plan, Wall Park, and this takes us, just for lack of space, takes us up past through Ingomar, up to the top of Harmony Road. Harmony Road in Ingomar. And this is the second part. And this is the second part. Okay, now I'm up with you now.
Give us a point of reference.
Oh, okay. This is Ingomar down here. And this is the top of the private section of Harmony Road.
Okay, Richard Roads to Pine Creek.
Okay, and this is Richard Road. This is the Potter Park portion. And here we are at Pine Creek, and then Richard Road would be about right here.
Potter Park to Ingomar.
And this is the section of Potter Park
These aren't
to
in
Ingomar.
Wall Park.
Wall Park, I did it backwards, so that was the first section.
Wall Park's the one I was talking about,
Mhm.
This is the Wall Park portion.
Up to,
up to Harmon.
could you trace it with your red dot from the bottom up?
Yeah, this is Wall Park,
Yeah.
and this is the intersection with Glen Ellen,
Glen Manor.
Glen Manor, I'm sorry.
Okay, now the part that you traced up through, Brian alluded to in his green space, because this is kind of an outgrowth of the green space, inventory and exploration. That's the land that Brian alluded to that the town picked up, has picked up over the years through that whole valley. So we own it, we control. So we can, so we can't, what you were saying,
We
Mrs.
can
Powers,
do it.
we have that, we've gone that far with it, we actually control the property, so the next step would be starting to,
Council.
not to get too far ahead of us, but council authorizing us to go to the next step.
So we're presenting this now because we want, if we decide this is something we want to do, we can look at this to put in our comprehensive plan and start looking for grants. There were a lot of really great grant monies available. Trails are just all the rage right now, and they're putting a ton of them in Pittsburgh. And we heard several speakers talk about grants that are available to help to design these trails and to plan these trails and then to build these trails. So if council's interested in this, then we can see about incorporating it into our plan and start looking in to see what funding is available.
And since we're doing an implementable comprehensive plan, we heard Dennis Pucco talk about if you have something that's a hot button item and the planning commission and governing body say identify that early on in the comprehensive planning process, or even have it already laid out, because that trail that Bruce showed from Wall Park up to Glen Manor has been on maps around here since the last comprehensive plan, and since about 1995, when the county proposed to us to put a trail up. They wanted to eventually go down to the Ohio River through our neighbors to the south. So suggestion would be that if council would like the EAC to look at this ground, get their input, and then incorporate that input into what's the timing will be right as the comprehensive plan process gets going. I talked to Mark Sabana today and to get his input about how much longer it's going to take to fill up the landfill area at Glen Manor, which is at the top end of this trail from Wall Park up to Glen Manor. He says probably about maybe 3 to 4 years of room. So I think we're getting to the point where we could, with council's blessing, proceed so that when we do this year's budget, the capital budget could include in 4 years out would be installation of this trail at the longest, and start the planning probably 2 years from now, design and everything, get it all ready so that we fill up the land, finish the landfill, and smooth it all off. Put the small parking lot up there that we're planning on putting somewhere between 6 and 10 cars. If that's still the right number. Landscape around it, and then we'd have the trail from Wall up there as that would be a done trail. And the rest of the exploration that the EAC is doing, I think would be. I don't want to get ahead of the EAC, but if it's your wish to want to continue and look at the other properties and see how conducive they are to trails, that kind of discussion, if you do that in the next couple of months, when the consultant comes knocking with Bruce on the implementable plan, you'll be able to tell him some things. Just a suggestion.
And if we put it in the budget, then that money will just be in reserve when we're ready to start working?
Well, I think what we would do, for the wall trail,
Yes.
for lack of a better term right now, that would be, if council says, go, and it wouldn't hurt to have council say that tonight, I don't think. I think it would be a nice thing to let the EAC get going on that one first, since that's the closest one to being built. Then we get that report, we do more work with the consultant on the comprehensive plan, and then that gets translated into, yes, putting it in the capital budget, and then start to get a rough estimate so we have money that we can save up for it,
And just keep
and have
adding
a
it
plan.
until we're ready.
Some of the summary of action items were Wall Park, design and construct a trail from Wall Park up to Harmony Road near Ingomar. Harmony Trail, reinforce the Rachel Carson Trail Conservancy efforts to negotiate license and/or easements from families extending the existing Harmony Trail to Richards Roads. Potter Park negotiating hiking, access to Potter Park from Ingomar and from Bristol Trail and Oak Ridge Drive. This requires safety signage. North Allegheny High School woodlands, design trails that negotiate the woods behind North Allegheny School, planning for connections to north, south, and southwest. Connect to property owners between Richard Road and Pine Creek Road. Introduce Harmony Trail to the property owners off Richards Road. These were just some of the plans that he had, Mr. Stevens had
This is the house directly before Potter Park.
for us. Any questions, or do we want to decide on this?
Probably the house.
Is there any other discussion on this Wall Park property?
The only thing I have a question of is I looked at it the other day, and it's not necessarily in the Wall Park, it's actually going to Potter Park. Were we aware that there is a swimming pool, a barn, and a garden on Potter Park's property?
I don't believe it's actually on their property, I think it's off the property.
According to the map, it's quite a bit on their property.
Yeah, it's,
Say Google?
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that that's, I've seen the survey, and it didn't look that way, to survey the people that have it, although we could check on it. I think
Worst
it's
case, we got
worthwhile.
ourselves a swimming pool.
Yeah, we should check on it. It's on the, as I recall, it's on the, we own Potter Park is 2 parcels, and I believe that's the triangular parcel that it's on.
It's
If it's close to,
closest to the
yeah,
road.
I think that's, I haven't seen the Google, see if I can.
We
think of it.
haven't,
I drew a line at the edge of the
we have to go
Potter
back and
Park.
check the files to see what kind of boundary survey. I don't think we have a topo survey. We can check that too to see what we have of Potter Pond and Potter Park.
Did you-
That measurement, I just used the measurement device.
But
If you click on satellite, it'll show
We
you
can
the
check
park.
on that.
Okay.
Bottom corner, bottom left corner.
Any other questions about this?
I
I
can
guess
check
while
on our
we're,
GIS too. and see.
while we're examining the question that Steve just raised, we ought to determine who does in fact own the swimming pool and the building, so we can define with some particularity who owns the property. If it isn't us, who is it?
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll do.
we'll get on that right away. Thanks for pointing that out, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
What street
Do
is
we
it
not
come
have
off of?
funds
Off
set
of
aside
Harmony.
already for this?
The
Potter
house
Park.
or the barn?
It's
Ingomar to Potter Park?
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
for
on
the
the
minutes
here.
tonight, it's probably, with
So
this
I
discussion
showed the
taking
map.
place, back in, oh gosh, late 90s, I'm gonna say, with this Larry Ridenhour study that was done.
Are you looking for the satellite?
Yeah.
Wait,
I kept hitting it, it wasn't coming up.
we'll get that, we'll figure it out.
Oh, the barn. New?
I'm looking at it through a map. It's hard to tell. Looks as old as the roof looks.
The answer to your question, Mrs. Powers, is out of the Ridenhour study, the county and the town council and the county entered into an agreement. County gave us $14,000. We had to match $7,000 to take that, however that $21,000 would take us, how far that would take us to put a segment of trail in from the end of the public road of Harmony Drive in Ingomar down to Potter Park.
So that money's been set aside, so we
Money's
have
been-
that money.
Unfortunately, the interest rates haven't been that great over this period, but it's gained,
Okay, we still have
it's
money,
gained a
right?
few pennies of interest, and we have the money, and that's to be used specifically for that segment of trail. One of the things that Ms. Zachary pointed out was on here, on this list that John Stephen put together is, we're talking about reviving discussions, because council asked me to discuss with property owners on this segment of the potential trail about acquiring easements. There was some interest, but not enough, and so that fizzled. So we need cooperation, because up to this point, council has said that council did not want to use eminent domain to take property to build a trail.
And neither did the county, I might
Neither
add.
did the council.
We had several meetings, lots of meetings. One of them in the big room where we had the opioid meeting, a couple big meetings there, and the big one at Commercial Middle School. And the county had the trail lined out, the county planning department did the presentation, and we were all there. And our people from Bradford Woods said they didn't want any trails out there. And the people that we, in our township, that lived along the trail said, no, they didn't want any either. So, my only suggestion when we had one of our final meetings was, well, take some money and buy the houses up as they sell, put it right away in and resell them, but nobody seemed to want to do that.
And the two of those have sold in the last 10 years.
But it would take a long time, that's the whole problem.
So do we want to look into this? Do we want the EAC to look into this and see what we can do?
Does the EAC want to look at the other parcels and see if that have had no study? We looked at a couple of them last year when I was giving you your briefing, looking at our recreation holdings. Like the piece off of, first one that comes to mind is off Rolls House Road. We just own it, it's just a vacant piece of property, and some of it might be conducive to trails, so there might be some analysis that could be done that would help our comprehensive planning process look at areas that have, Brian and the EAC have identified, but not had any kind of study as to their use. That might be very helpful. And then simultaneously, with council's blessing, start to look at the priority, Wall Park being first, and then I think council has to give the EAC guidance about the other trails that you and Bruce showed on the map up here, the Potter area, Harmony Trail, the High School Woodlands Trail, and this Richard Road Trail. It's met with some resistance, and have been identified there's a lot of work that's been done on those in terms of investigatory work.
The green space inventory was the first step to see what we had, and then the next step would be, okay, what, if anything, do we want to do with it?
I think that would be great.
And
next
so that's what, was the first step. We didn't even know what we had, so we couldn't see what we wanted to do with it. And then this were some things that we were looking at. But a lot of those parcels wouldn't be conducive for trails, but they would be conducive for something else. But we had to get this in place first and then evaluate these.
Did you show the trail along Vestal Field?
It doesn't show, this is from the 2005 comprehensive plan, that wasn't.
It was put in after
It
that.
was put in afterwards, but we do mention that, John Stevens mentioned that, and Kim mentioned that, or was going, I don't think he got quite that far, Kim.
Well, we're gonna take a walk down through
That
there.
got built.
The Vestal Field, from Oak Ridge to Vestal Field is a really nice trail. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere. It's runs alongside Pine Creek, and it is being maintained by a few people, particularly a couple of people that live in Oak Ridge. And it's the nice thing about that was, as Toby mentioned earlier, there were people that were objecting to the trails. They were some of them, because they didn't want the public going by the trails. Well, we got together with Harmony Trail Council at the time, Todd Chambers, and a couple of the people, Todd Chambers, and a couple of the people that lived there, and they ended up adopting the trail. And a couple of them maintain the trail. And they'll call up occasionally, they'll call me up and say, can you get us some millings? Mark will deliver some millings to help maintain the trail, so they've embraced it, and that's a pretty cool thing.
And you also have the property right by the abutment that we own.
Yes, we have that piece right there, which,
That was supposed to be a parking lot for the trail.
and some people use it that way.
Well, maybe if we do portions of it, like I'm saying here at Wall Park, and those people see what it's like, then maybe they'll be more agreeable.
Attitudes about trails have come a long way in 10 years.
Right.
I mean, it's a very progressive, idea, and a lot of young people, and a lot of old people too, are really interested in this. It's the way the
But I'm
future.
thinking if people can see how they're set up,
Good
they would be
example.
more, accepting of it.
Why don't we take a video of the Vestal Trail, put it on our website, Facebook, and let people see right in our, Bruce says within seconds, you're out in a meadow, in a woodland kind of meadow. It's beautiful. It's unbelievable. It's a short segment, and just to start promoting the concept and let people know what a trail looks like in our town right now.
That we already have.
We actually have a trail.
John's all about videos now.
He is.
Yeah.
Yes, get ready.
It's a thing.
I'll tell them to get cracking then.
We actually have a trail that's working and operational.
And Potter Park has a trail to it too.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it
right
does.
back to the
Well, we
road.
walked it.
Well, it goes
Yeah.
back the road, then it goes around the
And
park.
it's
Yeah.
fixed.
We had a
fixed.
scout that did that, who earned his Eagle Scout. And we also had a scout that put the benches and
Yes.
the markers in there.
Yep.
I don't know what shape they're in, I haven't been down there in a while.
I think that would be a great way of introducing that idea about, and to have John say, we're looking at, extending trails and making trails and making, hooking up with existing trails in McCandless, when he does that video. I think that'd be a great introduction to
Putting
start.
the idea out there
Yeah,
to people.
exactly.
If I could ask
exactly.
Council Jerry, is it okay for us then, for him to say, and the next step at least appears to be?
Or we're looking
Wall Park,
forward to
mid-
possibly.
Yep.
It's okay with me.
Do we have to wait for
That's
public
what
meeting,
I
or
would
can we
think.
take a vote tonight?
If you just,
We just
from a,
agree.
I think from a work session, it sounds like there's,
I think it's agree.
I think it's,
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, you're not voting on.
we're not putting any money in the
We're
budget.
not
You're just,
voting, we're not putting any money in.
you're just
We're
allowing us to
saying
promote this
Progress with the study.
Okay, okay.
and progress.
All
There
right.
you
So
go.
we get the thumbs up to continue on.
Good?
We didn't vote, but nobody said anything,
Nobody says
they're
anything.
object to it.
Are you nodding?
No objection, okay with me.
Good?
Sounds
Thumbs up?
good, thank you.
Thumbs up? We're good.
Toby, what is the access to Roll House Road?
Right off the end of Rolls House Road, off the public portion. It just turns private. We have,
We have an easement
we
through
have an
there.
easement or a chunk of ground that comes up to the end of Rolls
Is
House.
that the road right across from Perryman?
It's
Right by the church.
Right
It
by
runs
the-
parallel to the
Right,
Northmont Presbyterian.
Yep.
All the way back and
Yeah, okay.
So there's no road there though?
Nope,
no.
So there's no way
There's a
anybody in
dirt road.
McCandless could,
there's a dirt, kind of a sort of dirt road back off of Rolls House.
My recollection is it got blocked off a little bit because people started to drive back there, and I think it got blocked off and then grew
Well,
over.
there's no right of way.
But that's the kind of thing, that's my point is the EAC could look at that and say,
Right.
what can we do here? What would need to be done? How much would it cost? And again, have that information ready for the comprehensive plan and also just to report back to town council and operate on those parallel tracks so we get some of this done.
so that's 1.5 million square feet that
It sure is.
we
It's
own
like
and no one
29
in the,
It's like
20 some
29 acres.
acres.
It goes all the way down to Rochester Road.
and nobody can use it except for the people who live there.
That we own?
We own it.
Yeah.
Ray Austin.
We got it by donation.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
We don't have to get anybody's opinion if we already
No.
own it.
that's
There's
right,
a-
that's right.
Just start looking at it.
We got lots more exciting things coming from the EAC, but I don't wanna hog up all the time.
That was a donation.
No one can get
Yeah, nice, nice, okay.
Right off Roll
Thank
House.
you.
Roll House is here.
This is it right here.
Oh, yeah.
NC1,
Just mark it with
the
the-
green chunk.
It's amazing.
He couldn't,
I
he
know,
decided
there.
it was
My
gonna be
atlas
too
right here.
expensive development.
Sure, we have an easement.
That's great.
We'll see if we can find some money.
If it doesn't go to there, it wouldn't help us.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, that's all.
We have anything else? Anybody else have any comments?
If no one else wants this, I'll disconnect everything, and so no one trips on anything here. Get this out of here.
Planning Commission,
There's been a, materials for the May 4th, 2017 Town of McCandless Planning Commission meeting have been distributed. There's going to be a preliminary and final approval of land development application for the McCandless Senior Living Facility. The property is located on the west side of McCandless Crossing at the site of formerly approved Main Street facility located between LA Fitness and Doodlebugs. More needs to be said about that, otherwise I have all the maps and so forth for CA Living Holdings, Inc. What's that?
I was given the acronym to our recording secretary, CA.
CA Senior Living Holdings, comma, LLC. Well, that will be discussed on the 4th. Is there anything else we need to say now? I think that kind of covers it. Chairman Hoffman, I have nothing further on that.
thank you. Zoning Hearing Board, Greg?
There was no agenda meeting in March. There's a hearing scheduled for Thursday, April 27th, for a variance for a pole to be put in the side yard instead of the statute requires a pole be put in the backyard. And also, one other thing, the case was appealed in February from Richland Properties. They appealed their case to Common Police Court, and Bruce just gave me the appeal number. It's S as in Sam, A as in appeal, -17-258. If anyone wants to look at it at the Department of Court Records on the website, it's SA-17-258. That's all I have.
Thank you. Sanitary Authority, I didn't make the last meeting, but the one thing of everything seems to be working out fine. The centrifuge is the big item that they have. And the other item, they got a very nice grant from Alcosan. I think the amount was $350, if I'm going from memory now, $350,000 for the Salem Run improvements that they did. They put a new line up there. That's over in Franklin Park, and our people did it themselves, so our pipe crew did, and that's pretty good. Other than that, any questions? Ambulance Authority, Councilman McKim.
I have not seen, have you seen any agenda coming up? Our next meeting, next month?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that's what for some reason there wasn't one at the appointed time this month. I did talk to McGinnis, and he told me what the date is, but it's a ways off. We don't have the agenda yet, so it's really nothing to report. Other than the items, should we mention any of the items that you guys discussed the week that I was having my surgery, I think, on the...
Yeah,
Well,
we're going to meet with Steve McGinnis. He left his financial statements of the McCandless.
it's sort of a to-do list for us to follow up with.
Yeah,
Right.
and I called him back with some questions on his financial statements, and I called him back today, and so he's going to get back to me.
Good.
I don't think I'll be able to make tomorrow. I don't think we'll make.
No, when it's convenient for you,
Yeah, okay,
Greg, just
yeah.
give me a call, and
Yeah.
we'll get a date.
Okay. And do you want us to pull Regen in on that meeting, or would Reach be interested, or you know,
I think you're
CPA.
well equipped. He is too, but I think you,
Yeah, I know he is, I know.
if you have a question after you review it,
Yeah,
then
I
call
think
Reach.
that would be the best approach, would be to meet with, for Bill and I to meet with him, and then run it past you. Get your thoughts, okay? Okay.
I'll do my best.
Two lawyers there, oh boy.
He's a CPA.
He's a CPA also, I know that. Which part's gonna do the work, the CPA part?
No.
Okay, that's good, Greg. Northland Public Library,
Okay, I have an update on the library sinkhole. As we all know, McCandless decided to donate the labor. Franklin Park has agreed to donate the limestone, which amounts to $1,556. Marshall will donate $1,284, and they said that's 10.7%, which is their share of the $12,000. And Ross Township is meeting this evening. They've been in touch with Amy, and they said they'll get back to her to let her know what they're going to donate. So that's the sinkhole. I did speak to them about the minutes that we had discussed. They do not want anyone else to publish their minutes. They have agreed to put their minutes on their website. So that'll take care of that. And my last thing is just to remind everyone of the gala event, again, this Saturday evening at 7:30 at the library. And they still have tickets. That's all I have.
anything else?
No, that's all.
Anybody have any questions? North Hills Council of Governments, Councilman LeDon.
Mr. Chairman, we have not met since the last report, last meeting I reported out on, which was last month, and I've not received notification of the next regular meeting. So unless Toby has anything from the executive, from the manager's end of it, I have nothing.
Our meeting was canceled this past month, very rare. It was superseded by a county meeting.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you, Ralph. Volunteer Fireman Steering Committee,
Joint rec?
There has,
Oh, joint rec.
board.
yeah, we don't wanna get away from recreation. We, put our advertisements up on the webpage. I think it's done in Marshall too, and Franklin Park and Bradford Woods, and the school district apparently. We are in the process of looking for the staff, or hiring the staff, and that's about all. Any questions? Volunteer Fireman Steering Committee.
Mr. Chairman, again, there has been no meeting and none planned for the immediate future that I'm aware of.
Thank you. MIDA, Councilman McKim.
Nothing has been scheduled, nothing's on the schedule. The news about the original dog or the animal shelter place, that was the last bit of business we had, and we will report on further. Usually there are meetings scheduled if there's business to attend to it. There is not at this point.
Town Museum, Toby, do you want to do that?
Most significant thing is that they were scheduled to open at on May 20th, 1 p.m. We have a grand opening ceremony. We're in the process of sending out invitations to those who helped and to those who might be interested. Work is still continuing to get it spruced up and items cleaned and so forth and displayed. And the bulk of that is done, but there'll be, as I've been reporting, there'll be ongoing work to do that. Continue to process and clean. A lot of the materials are in binders and so forth too. The display items that have been inventoried are ranging from large to small items, are pretty much out on the floor now. So good progress is being made. So we'll have our plan briefly is to have we're gonna borrow one of the library authorities' tents, probably a 20 by 20 tent, to have a table or two outside for, just in case we would have to move under cover, and have some light refreshments. But we can talk about the details with you, Jerry, as we get closer.
As the time gets closer.
Yep. We'll be open 1 to 4 that first day.
Any questions about that project?
Do we have a date to start, for a meeting for our promotional committee?
Our fund committee, no, we haven't set a date yet. Probably when we get it open, we should be able, well, it's gonna take us some time to get that together.
Right, that's why I wanted to start before we
Well,
waited until it was opened.
you mean to have the committee in place before it's open?
No.
That'd be kinda hard.
Why?
Well, because once we draw up the guidelines, you got to advertise it for 30 days. Then you have to interview a committee.
No, the
Right.
committee, it was gonna be the 3 people on council, we're gonna put that together.
That's the one,
That's- That's what I'm talking about, putting those together. Yeah.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
not talking about the one in
Right, I'm just
First
talking about the
things
3
first.
people meeting to kind of set up the guidelines for the citizen committee.
yeah, we'll set a date to do that. That shouldn't be too difficult. Community Day Committee. We're making progress on Community Day. The one thing up in the air is the parade. We don't know whether we're gonna have an assembly area or not.
Working on it.
We're working on it, but that's the thing we have to, think about. If we don't have the assembly area and we have to do something else, we'll have the band perform on the field like we were planned on doing once before. We have new owners on the property where we have formerly met.
Have we approached the man that bought the rave property? Have we approached him at all to ask him if we could assemble there?
He's busy storing cars here right now. More and more.
There, if you
I
ride
thought
past
we were
there,
looking into that.
We are?
Oh.
That's,
Yeah,
it was reported, we're in court.
if
Not a
we,
good time to
if we,
talk about that.
if we walk, if you go
Unfortunately.
past there, you see it's pretty well filled now.
Oh, I know, I've seen that.
Do you think Giant Eagle, they seem to have a lot of space over there. I wonder if maybe we could approach them as a staging area there to start and then.
You mean
Let's come
Pine Creek
across
Center?
Midnight
Yeah,
Road,
Right.
PennDOT
Yeah.
PennDOT likely wouldn't let us cross
Across
McKnight Road.
Midnight Road.
We have to
For a
cross.
parade?
That's a limited access highway, so that, I think they might rain on that parade.
Could we start it at a different end, like maybe Stone
Just,
Field?
rather than start going down the wrong path with the parade, I thought pardon?
Could we start
We
in a
talked
different
about that
direction, like
too.
towards Stone Field?
We're looking at
We talked
options
about that, we're
Uh,
looking at different options.
and see if there's still the same owner at the West Banco property, because that's another possibility too. Because West Banco still owns that. We've talked to West Banco. They don't know if they're gonna still own it by that time of year. George Sod right now we're playing a showdown. You know, we're in court over him parking tons of cars over there. It looks like a really big parking ride.
I've seen it.
So that's where we are with Community Day. Other things are pretty well falling in place as normal. Any other questions? I don't have any reports or correspondence. We go to the town manager's report.
Just to point out that the Stonecrest folks that wanted to build in the resource protection area, they're now looking at the feasibility of acquiring from Adventure the site across the street adjacent to the LA Fitness to be their spot rather than closer to the neighborhood.
Where that rehab hospital was supposed to go.
The rehab hospital, Mr. McKinn talked about already, that's where that's right by Doodlebugs, talking about the next pad up toward LA Fitness. That's one thing to point out in particular, and also, just a slight elaboration on on item 7, elaborates on the signal work and paving on McKnight Road. PennDOT PennDOT officials explained to Mark Sabina, Chief DeSanti, and me that they believe that they're going to be able to extend the stacking lane that serves Pine Creek that's on McKnight Road to about 200 plus feet, 200 to 220 feet in length. Everything else is pretty much the same there. We had a great price on our town insurances. I thought that was worthy of note too. When we headed our insurance review, $102 more than last year for all of our property and casualty insurances, which also includes the insurance bill we pay for the property and casualty insurance for the 3 fire companies.
Did we look at that? Did we look at that? You said it was renewed. I don't remember seeing that. Did we look at that?
I do that administratively, but I'll gladly share. I can get a copy put on into your folder to take a look at. Sure.
Is that something that we rebid? How do we decide that?
We have been going with MRM since we're a member of that MRM Workers' Comp and Trust, and we're one of the seminal original members since 1981. They oversee the insurances in a trust fashion for us. So we probably, we are into such a dividend structure with them. The answer is no. It just doesn't really. It's not sensible. I shouldn't say probably. It's not sensible to rebid that because of the dividend structure that we're heavily involved in. Because it's a trust, so when we pay our premiums, depending on our claims, we can have much more significant funds returned to us from our premium, the amount that we advanced, than we would if we just paid a straight premium through a broker.
We usually get a check back every year.
Yeah, our workers' comp, we received 50.
Last week, as a matter of fact.
Yes, we picked
We
it up at
received
Seven Springs.
56% of our workers' comp premium back last year. And property and casualty, we don't get quite as much because the program is a bit younger, but we get a significant amount returned.
Is that a mutual? Is that a mutual company?
No, it's a trust allowable under state law. It's a municipal trust.
Maybe
It's
you could,
nonprofit is what
It's
it
a
is, so we get all our money back, or all the participants get their money back every year.
maybe we could present this at a meeting sometime so you could explain it to us a
Absolutely.
little bit, just so we
Sure.
could understand, how it works, so we can
Sure.
just be more informed. I would like to hear about it.
You
I
bet.
don't understand, you give your money and you get it all back, that's a great deal.
We don't get all back.
No.
It sounded like
You
you
know-
get it all
No,
back.
no,
I
no,
wanted
no.
to get in on this deal.
No, you get a lot back.
A lot back.
If you're good. If you're good.
a lot.
Well, it depends on how much you're paying. If you're paying too much, then it doesn't matter if you get it back. Be interested to know about it.
Sounds good.
The other thing on number 3 that I wanted to say is that when the time starts getting a little bit closer to this, I'm sure the EAC would really like to partner with the MS4 program and contribute to that. So keep us posted on how that's going and when that's.
Yeah, I think, just a quick answer, yes. And the mapping is what we're doing right now.
Mhm.
It's the technical side. But then what we're gonna be doing is identifying, for the next 5 years, what areas we should be targeting to help reduce erosion and so forth. So I think that
I
sounds like.
know we'd love to do some education things and some articles and support that effort.
Sounds great.
Kim, would you focus me back on what you just said? I missed the very beginning what you said. This pertains to number 3 on Toby's manager.
The MS4 program.
Okay, and what about it?
It said, right now they're working on the GIS map,
Mhm.
but when they get done with the areas, then they have to start reducing sediment nutrition, reduction of pollution by 10% over.
gotcha.
And we could start doing some educational things with homeowners and
gotcha.
things like that, and businesses to help
Right.
promote that.
Thank you.
We had a big meeting on that year before last.
Last year,
Waterra Township was really whacked. So we saw all the different kind of scenarios that can be played out with this. And they could be expensive and they could be time consuming. With that, we'll have to see what they have in mind for us.
and we are working on our Public Works rain gardens that are gonna be between our Public Works salt dome and storage area and Pine Creek. We have pulled back our storage, it was close to Pine Creek, and we're putting in, treatment areas, water quality treatment areas behind our Public Works stockyard, virtually unheard of. So
It
we're
looks
kind
good.
We got the
of,
one
It's
over,
good,
the
better.
one over
Good.
by the History Center is working, and
We gotta get a tour,
It'll look better
gotta get a tour when it
than
gets
what
done.
it does
Yeah.
now.
that one you can look at anytime you want.
I know.
well, the first, the original one is getting a little overgrown. We have the Audubon Society scheduled to come in and help us out and identify the plants, so we, you know, when kids start coming here to the Heritage Center and adults and the bus loads start coming down, we wanna have those
Maybe
things all
that would be
identified.
a good thing, a good project for some Scott. Maybe he could label those plants like he did it one other time.
Plus those can't fit in.
Make labels and put them on there. Wooden labels.
We have a sign out here, you may have seen in our office that we wanna, it needs to be planted up there, but we have to, it needs spruced up. The original plantings, some have perished, and Sabina wants to have our people trained so that when we go up, if our guys have to go up and do some cleaning, we don't wanna be pulling the good stuff and leaving the weeds. I mean, most of it, some people might call weeds, but beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Okay,
I thought, I said one more thing, but now it's another one more thing. Toby, outstanding job on the opioid forum. Thank you.
It was very well done.
It was very impressive. Other municipalities are gonna pick up and start doing the same thing. There were a lot of people that were very impressed. It was a great show. It was a very good program.
And a very good
Very
attendance.
informative.
It was an
Very good
excellent
attendance,
attendance. Yeah, very nice job.
you finished, town manager?
Yes, sir.
He's talking to me.
I thought it was
Ask-
Now we have the town attorney.
The only thing I just wanna remind everybody, your ethics report is due May 1. This is a good time to do it when you finish your income tax, that's what I always do, so get them filed.
Okay.
If you need a copy, Marie has copies of the form.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before the body?
Steve had a great idea sometime to do our gardens out front, to make a contest and throw it out to the community and have people submit some ideas for planting the garden out front. I thought that was a good idea.
in the hillside.
This frontage.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to make some stipulations, you know, it's this big, you know, we want, you know, deer-resistant plants, whatever, but I thought that would be a nice way to engage the community, see what we get.
Well,
Before we
yes, in
start on
charge.
that, we might want to put a sidewalk in our rooms early, there's room for it.
Yeah,
We talked about that.
yeah.
There's plenty of room there.
Yeah.
We put sprinklers in because we require our builders to put them in, so we put them in the municipal building. They weren't always here. He says, how can we tell people to put sprinklers in when we don't have them? So we sprinkled the municipal building, so we can do the same with the sidewalk.
We're the government, we don't have to.
Well,
Where does our
This-
water go from our roof here?
Well, it's putting an
The
update.
what?
Where does our water go from here? Just onto the, into the creek?
It's piped, and I don't,
Some of it goes into the,
It won't take
there's a
long. Might
couple of
back.
oversized
Retention
basins
pond.
that it goes into out here, catch basins.
Tell her you said.
It ends up in
But it
pipe.
ends up in Pine
My
Creek.
head might say
Oh,
so.
sure.
Would there be any reason we couldn't collect that in a, I mean, obviously we'd have to put a tank, an underground tank or something in, but to water the new gardens or whatever.
We used to have a well here, but that, we sealed that off years ago. We were on well water. Why not, why not explore it?
Yeah, I mean, a cistern would
Cistern?
save a lot of money for taking care of things like that.
I'm gonna write that down.
the cistern. That used to be the old way of doing it.
Yep.
Old ways are sometimes
Old
better
ways are
than
coming,
new
Lana.
ways.
Ways are new.
Well, I
Ask
brought
Ralph.
They're
Ralph
making-
will tell you.
They're making a comeback.
I brought
Right.
that up,
Smoke signals.
I brought that up at a
Nothing wrong with the
meeting.
telephone, right?
Skywriting.
We were discussing water and I
Smoke
brought up
signals.
cisterns and the engineers looked. I said, they work very well. because
Jungle
I know
drums.
People that had cisterns,
My grandparents still do.
we didn't have any, we all had wells.
See, there was-
Right.
And so some people didn't have good wells and they had cisterns, which worked quite well.
So are you saying the engineers didn't know what you were talking about?
They were planning on ways to detain stormwater. And one of the ways that you can detain stormwater is with cisterns.
Right.
We tried to have some put in up here, nobody knew how to put them in.
A cistern,
Good
We
grief,
could
you
not-
could do yourself.
No, I'm telling you.
Hard to find a
Nobody-
good plumber
we
anymore.
couldn't
There's all
You don't
kinds
need
of
a
cistern
plumber
in.
for a
We
cistern.
couldn't
You
find
need a
anyone
digger.
to install.
kidding
We
you.
wanted a big one.
Why didn't you?
Anyone
call it,
could
you
do
know,
that.
Yeah.
I know, I didn't know him then.
you can put a
Well, you
big,
know now.
it can be built out of I've seen them built out of
Yeah,
block.
brick, block,
I've seen them built
concrete.
out of brick, I've seen them poured.
Would you
Plastic?
like, would you like the EAC to think about this out here?
I would.
Keep loading up our plates, look at over there. So all the workers back there, they're like going, what is she doing? Yes,
Yes. For me, yes for you.
and then we bring the ideas to you, you
Yes
know.
for Bill, yes for you, Jerry.
Pardon?
Cistern, look at the EAC.
Oh, I was
Well,
talking
they
about
could-
the frontage.
She wanted to
Yeah, they might
Oh,
have,
sorry.
Garden in front.
might have a little water control
re-landscape
there.
the front.
I don't want,
Okay,
Do we have exact measurements on the front? We should.
no, I don't want.
Do we have a plot plan?
I'll have to dig out the file.
there's
Has to be
probably
a plot
one.
plan.
We have a survey, again, I don't know if it's topo, but, yeah, we have a pretty good updated survey.
I saw one. There's one around.
It's not-
Okay.
I don't know what
Okay.
detail it shows. We're done.
Anything else? Brian?
Sorry, can I ask for a point of clarification? Do you folks need to approve the report by consensus, the green space report and map, or? They did? Thank you.
I said, I think
I
they
think
did.
we
I
approved it
did.
by
Yeah.
consensus.
Just from an
The
observer's,
minute's gonna reflect that.
she just,
We don't
Yeah,
vote
we
at
can't
this
vote
meeting.
on it, but I mean, you're-
We can't vote on it.
acclamation, Brian. That-
You
she said
didn't
it was
hear
a great-
anybody say no, did you?
Yeah.
Somebody said it was a great job.
I
Splitting,
think it was a great job.
Okay, I'll turn all the files over to Marie and John, and that way we're covered.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay,
Okay.
Nice
thank you.
work.
Just wanna make sure.
nothing further? Move to adjourn, or I could
No,
just
you
adjourn
adjourn.
it.
It's a committee.
Meeting's adjourned.
Thanks for serving us time.
A little early to adjourn it, though.